evening, Chris.
Good evening, Jess.
So, the last time we talked and sat down like this, in our interview, you said that you are open and interested in learning how to manage your sugar intake, right?
Yes.
Okay, so now we're finally here at our session and we're going to learn how to manage your sugar intake. Oh, so this is a short guide, like just an introduction, but a guide for you to learn. So this is a guide to manage your sugar for better. But first, before we start, are you okay to start with the session or do you need anything first?
You may start.
Okay, so let's start with the title, Sickeningly Sweet. Get it, right? So this is a guide to manage your sugar for better health. First, what does our body need? What does our body need to function? I know that you know this because you're an MLS student, right? And you already took biochem, so I know that you know. So I don't need to further really go into detail with this. But just to run through again, you know that our body needs fuel to work properly, and we get this source from food. So when we eat, food breaks down into nutrients when we digest it. And it breaks down like glucose, it breaks down into simple sugar. And this glucose, this sugar powers the brain and the muscles and organs. So this is a simple visual representation where food breaks down into sugar, and this sugar is energy for not only our brain but our muscles and other organs. Okay, so what does sugar do? Is sugar bad or is sugar good? But sugar first is the primary source of energy for our body. So in every cell in our body, especially the brain and muscle cells, uses glucose for fuel, and it supports brain function. And the brain consumes about 20 to 25% of the body's energy, and it primarily runs on glucose. So sugar is very important for us to function. So, because without enough sugar or other energy sources like ketones, you may experience confusion or brain fog or poor concentration. And it is essential for certain bodily functions. So some cells like red blood cells and parts of the kidneys rely almost entirely on glucose to function properly. So with that being said, it is clear that sugar is important in order for our body to function. But there are also other effects if we eat too much sugar. Okay, so here are the effects if we eat too much sugar, because it can raise triglyceride levels, blood pressure, and inflammation. So all of these are risk factors for heart disease. And the excess fructose, which are commonly found in soda or sweets, candies, etc. So is processed in the liver, and this can turn into fat. So this can lead to fatty liver disease, which is closely tied to cardiovascular disease. So it also causes spikes in blood sugar and insulin, and putting stress on the pancreas. And over time, this may lead to insulin resistance, which is a key cause of type 2 diabetes. Well, you mentioned the other day that you were kind of worried that you would develop diabetes, right? So yes, that is a possible thing that will happen if we keep on eating too much sugar. And it causes spikes in blood sugar. That's why you experience energy spikes too. So it also adds empty calories with little nutritional value. So it increases the visceral fat and raising risks of metabolic syndrome. And it also fuels chronic inflammation, which contributes to many diseases, including arthritis or cancer and Alzheimer's. So this sugar too much may weaken your immune system, making it harder to fight infections. So too much sugar also feeds harmful bacteria, leading to tooth decay and gum disease. So your teeth may hurt. when we eat too much sugar, which I think is a common knowledge for us, for all of us here. So, in order, with that being said, we need to have the big T, which is temperance, which means that everything should be in moderation. So, sugar, just imagine that this is just right. Too much is bad, but too little is also bad. So, sugar needs to be just right for you, for your body, because if you eat too much sugar, we saw the effects at the last slide here, which are really harmful for you and can really affect your body in the long run. So you should also practice temperance, me included, we should practice temperance. So we should just consume sugar that is just right for our body, not too much but not too little. Okay, so the World Health Organization recommends adults and children to reduce their daily intake of fish sugars to less than 10% of their total energy intake. So, and a further reduction to below 5% or roughly 25 grams per day would provide additional health benefits, right? Okay, so if you want really to get the additional health benefits, you should only consume 6 teaspoons of sugar every day. You think you can do that? Maybe? Are you positive? Because that is what the World Health Organization recommends. Okay, so next, it is really important to determine and differentiate emotional hunger from physical hunger. Do you have any idea? I think you may have, but still, emotional hunger comes suddenly. Like, it's such a sudden, random thing where you're lying down and you just think, oh, I want candy, I want chocolate. It comes really sudden. But physical hunger builds gradually. It develops gradually. Like, it's not sudden because you know it will come because our body needs food. And emotional hunger, it craves for specific comfort foods. For example, you're lying down and you're scrolling on your phone, you see something like desserts while scrolling on TikTok, you will crave that specific dessert. You will crave specific dessert with emotional hunger. So it comes suddenly, as said, but in physical hunger, it's open to many food options. You know, when you're really hungry and you just think you can just eat anything because you're really hungry, because that's physical hunger. So it's not just one craving. It's not that specific. That's physical hunger. And then emotional hunger is unrelated to actual physical need, because, for example, you're just lying down and you just ate, but then you suddenly crave. That isn't related to any physical need, right? But you crave it. That's emotional hunger. And physical hunger is based on a real bodily need, because our body does need to eat to function. For example, it's lunchtime and you feel hungry. You know that's bodily need because you need to eat so that you can function. Next is emotional hunger leads to mindless eating. So mindless eating is like you eat and eat and you don't notice that you already ate so much. That's mindless eating. But physical hunger leads to conscious eating. You know that you're full and you know, like when you eat lunch, right? You know that you ate enough. And of course, emotional hunger, it causes guilt afterward. Do you feel guilty after craving sweets? Yes, so that's emotional hunger. If you feel guilty after, that's emotional hunger phase. So physical hunger leaves you feeling satisfied, like after being so hungry, haven't eaten, oh, you finally ate, you feel satisfied. That's physical hunger. It is not regretful, but Emotional hunger causes guilt afterward. Okay, so I have a few questions and I just want to ask you, do you want to answer the questions now or later after the food action? Later, okay. Next is healthier alternatives. Of course, we need healthier alternatives to battle our cravings because it's really hard to stop just eating, right? So you can't really just stop eating, but there are other alternatives that you can eat so that sugar is not that high and it's a healthier alternative. For example, you may choose fruits, nuts, and whole grains over sugary snacks like chocolate bars or hard candy. And you could also plan meals ahead to avoid impulsive eating. But you really need to follow your plan, your meal plan, in order for it to work. And it is really also good to include protein and fiber to stabilize your blood sugar so that you would crave sugar less. Okay. Of course, I added this. This is very important. Just go to the cafeteria instead of ordering food outside. Food in the cafeteria is healthy, it's vegetarian, and you have dietitians here that know what they're doing. So just go to the cafeteria instead of eating outside. So that's one of the healthier alternatives. So for example, if you're craving candy, you could eat fresh fruit instead. If you're craving for soda, you could opt for unsweetened tea or maybe fruit water, well, water with fruits, or maybe flavored water. That's healthier than soda. Or if you want chocolate bars, you can eat nuts. Nuts are better for the brain. Contrary to popular belief that chocolate bars are good, they just provide you for energy for a short time, but they're not for the long run. It's not forever. So it's better to eat the healthier alternatives. Next is, these are some strategies to handle cravings. So, first is to drink water before reaching for sweets, or substitute cravings with healthier options, distract and redirect, track your triggers, post self-reminder, keep a commitment card, which we have here. You will make a commitment card later. Don't skip meals and maybe hide your sweet snacks. Maybe we should hide them so that we can avoid eating so much. Okay? Okay, so some strategies are distract and redirect. So when we distract and redirect, this is where you cravings usually last for 10 to 20 minutes. So this is where you distract yourself by doing other things like taking a walk, brushing your teeth, calling or texting a friend. Well, I think you should avoid scrolling into food. But you need to distract yourself away from that craving. So do something unrelated to that craving, unrelated to food. And then maybe you can don't skip meals, because if you skip meals you'll get hungry. Well, you'll get physically hungry and emotionally hungry if you skip meals. And I think that's it. Post a self-reminder. Okay, so I know that you post some reminders in your space here. You can also do that. You can post in a little post-it sticky note where what do you think you should write in that sticky note? Reminder, do not eat sweets. What do you think? It's just a simple reminder, but maybe while you're lying down, you suddenly crave, but then you turn to your left, to your wall, and you see the reminder. Oh, it's a reminder. This is just a craving. Maybe I'll distract myself. So that's a good thing to do. And we have a commitment card too, so we'll really commit. Okay. Next here in strategies, this is, it also says to track your triggers. So here in the triggers, I want you to identify which of these triggers do. So we have stress, where sugar temporarily lowers cortisol and giving short-term relief. So stress, that's why you crave sugar. So maybe you're stressed with your academics, with school, there's an exam coming up, you're so stressed with your stress eating, and you crave sugar. Because sugar temporarily lowers the cortisol, which is the stress hormone, giving you short-term relief. Or maybe boredom. Is boredom a trigger for you? Because eating gives you something to do and it creates a dopamine hit. And loneliness or sadness. So, is this a trigger for you? Because sweets can mimic comfort and connection. So maybe when you're lonely, when you're alone in the dorm, alone at home, you suddenly crave sweet stuff. So you won't feel lonely because sweets give you comfort and connection. Reward seeking. Maybe I had a long day, I deserve this. Like, I think we all say that. Where after exam, where after we finished our exam, I think it's almost all students order or eat out after exams. It's to reward themselves. This is a trigger, sweet trigger too. Next is lack of sleep. Lack of sleep. It increases ghrelin, which is the hunger hormone, and it decreases leptin, the fullness hormone. So it makes you crave sugar for quick energy. When you're sleepy, you may think, oh, eating sugar, eating sweets can wake me up. Dehydration. Next is dehydration. Mild thirst is often misread as hunger or sugar craving, so it's also a trigger. Or daily routines. If it's part of your daily routine to eat sweets, so having sweets at the same time every day, so it becomes a routine for you and your body expects it, it craves it every day if it's a daily routine. Or keeping sweets visible, this is also a trigger. This may also be a trigger for you. If you see sweet, oh, there's something sweet, I want to eat that. So, can you tell me which of these are your triggers?
Actually, all of them.
All of them? Really?
Yes.
All of them are triggers? Then we have a long way to go to manage. So, if all of these are your triggers, then this is where you start. This is what you'll work on. So, if stress causes you to crave sweets, then you should also manage your stress. So, if boredom makes you crave sweets, then maybe you can use the redirection method with this. Loneliness or sadness, maybe you could call or message a friend. Reward seeking. With reward seeking, it's okay if it's not every day. If it's, and not too much. Maybe with really big events, like your finals or like that. Rewards. But if you really want a reward, we could go for healthier alternatives. Go for the healthier alternatives if you really want a reward for your hard work. Lack of sleep, dehydration, daily routines, keeping sweets visible. But basically, these triggers are where you start. You need to manage these triggers first so that you can manage your sugar intake. Because if you don't manage these triggers, you also can't manage your sugar intake. So it's really important. So maybe you can find different coping strategies than eating sugar for these triggers, but it's better to manage them. Next is a tracking. So here discussed, you learn that there are healthier alternatives, that there are strategies, and um, there are importance of why you should manage your sugar. So this is a tracking um, food log. This is a food log where you put the number of sweet items that you ate that day, and or the number of healthy swaps you did. For an example, tomorrow you would crave candy, but you suddenly think there's a healthier alternative for this, so you opt for the healthier alternative instead. So you record that, and you record also your energy level and your mood after eating that. So did that make you happy? Did that make you tired? Did that make you moody, angry? So that is how you track. Okay, so before we go to the Bible verse, you should answer these questions that are prepared first. So we'll go back again. If you can write your answers, that would be great. So we'll just go back to what we've discussed so that we know, I will know if you really learn. Okay, so you can write or you can do this number one orally. You can just do it orally because, or if you want to write, you can. You will write, but you'll also read it out loud. Okay. So first is we discussed why sugar is important and why sugar is bad. Hidden sugars are bad. So can you explain why managing your sugar intake is important? Can you please explain why managing sugar is important? You can list as much as you want. I think the more the better because that means you learned a lot of stuff.
I have three.
You have three? Okay, let's hear them.
So it prevents chronic diseases.
Yeah, that's true.
The second is it stabilizes energy level and support the liver health, as you mentioned earlier.
Yes, I did mention earlier that it causes fatty liver disease, so that's true. Stabilizes energy level because it causes energy spikes and crashes, so that's also true. It prevents chronic diseases because you know that it can cause diabetes, which we're worried about. So those are all true. That's good, you learned. Okay, for my next question, can you give at least 3 effects of eating too much sugar to the body? So there were a lot that we mentioned earlier. So can you give at least 3? But if you know more than 3, it would be better. So it will be engraved in your mind that these are the bad effects, or you shouldn't eat too much sugar. So you can also write them and then you'll or verbalize them.
As I said before, it causes really spikes. And sugar spikes when I'm stressed, I'm eating too much sugars like that, and then it fuels chronic inflammation.
Where sometimes you feel bloated, right?
Yes, so much. And then maybe it feeds harmful bacteria leading to
Tooth decay. Yeah. So does your teeth hurt sometimes?
sometimes, yeah.
Oh. That's true. That's good. It's good that you know the effects of eating too much sugar. So as I said before you eat any sugar, you could think of them so that you would stop. So earlier, we showed here what the World Health Organization recommends sugar, what sugar intake is appropriate for adults. So, can you please tell me what is the recommended sugar intake for adults?
You said about 60 spoons
Yes.
or 25 grams.
Yes, that's right. That's right. And what you remembered is also um, the one where it provides additional health benefits. So the standard is less than 10%, and the 60 spoons is reduction to below 5%, 25 grams. So you're correct. That's good. So remember, every day 60 spoons of sugar. So maybe if you eat, maybe you can search how much sugar this has, so you can track your sugar. Okay, so for this next thing, can you please write? You write your answers. Okay, because you would identify if it's emotional hunger or physical hunger. Okay. Okay. When you have a specific craving, when it leaves you feeling satisfied. Okay, so when it's open to many food options. It leads to mindless eating. Okay, we're done. And when your hunger builds gradually. Okay. So when your hunger is unrelated to physical need. So when it's based on a bodily need. Okay, so how about when your hunger comes suddenly? Okay, this is the last number. How about when it causes guilt afterwards? I'm sorry, that's number 9. There's one more. Okay, and the last one is it leads to conscious eating. Okay, let's see. Number 1, specific craving. Yes, that's emotional hunger. Leaves you feeling satisfied. Physical. Open to many food options. Physical. Lead to mindless eating. That is emotional. Builds gradually. Physical. Unrelated to physical need. That's emotional. Based on bodily need. Physical. Then comes suddenly. Emotional. Causes guilt afterwards. Yes, emotional. And leads to conscious eating. Physical. That's right. We got everything right. I'm so happy that you are learning from this session. So, the next activity or evaluation tool is, let me check. Okay, so it's a question. Okay, so the question is, you crave something sweet?
For chocolate, I think it's for nuts.
You eat nuts.
Yes, I love nuts.
You love nuts?
Yes.
So when you crave chocolate, just go to your nuts. Can you give me one more?
Truly for fruits.
Where would you get fruits?
Cafeteria.
That's right. The cafeteria has fruits. So, what you said earlier, you just go to the cafeteria instead of ordering outside. Okay, so the next thing is, we discussed about the strategies, right? There are lots of strategies. So, you can drink water before reaching for sweets. You can substitute cravings with healthier options. You can distract and redirect. You can track your triggers. You know your triggers now. Please track them. And you can post a self-reminder here on your wall or in front of your table. Keep a commitment card. You will do a commitment card. And don't skip meals. 5 sweet snacks. So which one do you want to do first? The commitment card or the action plan? Because you will be doing an action plan.
Maybe the apple.
You'll do the action plan first. Okay. So here I already made the template for the action plan. So I'm gonna give it to you. Stop here. There. Okay, here. So here in this action plan, you'll write your goal and you'll write why this matters, and then you'll enumerate the steps that you will take so you can reach this goal, and then your support tools. So your support tools are maybe your self-reminder, your commitment card. This can be your support tools, and your time frame. So for how long will you do this? And at the very last part, you will enumerate what success looks like for you. So your goal is to follow this action plan, right? So what does success look like to you after this? I'm sorry, I forgot to erase this. That's an example. Oh, what's the pen? That's not good. Think carefully what your goal is, and how you could achieve it. perfect time for you to test your temperance. You're done? Okay. This action plan, I really hope that you will follow it. Okay, mm, so I prepared a commitment card. I printed the commitment card to you. It's not printed yet. I mean, it's not cut yet. We'll just put it there. So this is your commitment card. It's quite big, right? So you would always see it. So you write your name and write what you would commit to. And put your name and signature. Then I will also sign as your accountability partner. That means that I will be the one to remind you when I see you eating sweets, when I see you not following what you committed to. Please don't have commitment issues. That's bad. So maybe you can write, I commit to managing my sugar intake, keeping my action plan, living the strategies I put there. You can put that. Your commitment plan. Make sure to commit to it. That. Put your name and sign. I will also sign. And I promise to always remind you to track your sweets, manage your sugar intake every day. So that means I need to hide your sweets from you. I'm acting as a friend. I'm concerned for you. Keep this commitment card, okay? This will serve as a reminder for you. So, lastly, I'll give you this, but this is an example, a template for tracking your progress. This is a food log. Well, I already explained it earlier, but this has the days for 1 week. This is only for 1 week. And you can put the number of sugary items that you ate. And the number of healthy swaps that you did instead of eating those sweets. And then what's your energy level after and your mood? Okay? So if I understand that you can't have this with you every time you eat, every time. So instead, you can do this in your phone. This is very easy to do. You can just follow this in your phone. Okay? And then, I will get back to you in a week. Let's see if you have any progress, which I really do hope that you have progress, okay? Do this. Lastly, I would like to share a Bible verse. So, of course, in everything that we do, God should be the center of it. So, in 1 Corinthians 10:31, it says, so, whether you eat or drink, or whatever you do it all for the glory of God. So, just a simple reflection. It says that what you eat is what you are, right? There are things like that, or remember that your body is the temple of God. So, before you eat sweets or anything unhealthy, really, pause just for a second, think of your strategies, and maybe think, my body is the temple of God. Is this going to destroy it? So, you can reflect on this verse whenever you like. This is a beautiful verse. So, whether you eat or drink, do it all for the glory of God. Because your body is the temple of God. So, taking care of it will glorify Him. So, is this what you're going to eat? This will this destroy your temple, or will this build it stronger to glorify God? So, let's work together. I'll tell you what, I'll do this with you. I won't track my progress, but you will. But I'll be with you through it all. I promise not to eat any sweets with you. Since we're roommates, I will hide your sweets. I will also hide mine. Okay? Okay. So that's the end of our session. That's the end of our lesson. So how do you feel?
Feel good.
Do you feel like you learned something?
So much.
So much?
So
Do you feel motivated to start managing your sugar intake?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. For you, yes.
For real? Okay, I'm really happy to hear that. Okay, so managing your sugar intake is very important. So you should do it while you're still young and you don't have diabetes yet. Okay, I said yet because if you don't stop, really, you may develop it. Okay. So thank you so much for being in this lesson, being in this session with me, for listening and learning. Thank you for being willing for this. Thank you for being willing to learn. Okay, so you keep your commitment card and your tracking tool, and then I'll check your tracking tool in a week. Okay, so thank you so much again for being great.
Yes.
Okay.